Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Liam. This is my hobby room. I'm a little sick right now, which is why I look and sound a little disheveled. But that's okay, because we're still gonna have fun today because we are building, modifying, and painting the Gundam Dynames from Mobile Suit Gundam 00. Piloted by codename Lock-On Stratus of Celestial Being, the paramilitary group, the Gundam Dynames is a long-range unit that was used to great effect during Celestial Being's global armed intervention. This is in the series. This didn't actually happen in real life. Don't worry. Or maybe that would be good. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Out of the box, the HG Gundam Dynames is actually pretty plain and leaves a lot to be desired. The construction is simple, and while I think it's still generally impressive, the level of engineering at the time of design wasn't anything like it is nowadays. So as a result, there are a lot of parts that need to be masked and painted due to several key parts being molded in the same color or the incorrect color, you know how it is. You get a fairly comprehensive sticker sheet, though I don't think I'll be using any of them other than the dark green ones for the GN condensers and the torso, arms, and legs. And actually, now that I say that, I don't think there actually are GN condensers in the legs, it's just the torso and the arms. So that's kind of nice, don't have to worry about too much of that stuff.
I think Lock-On Stratus was kind of like Team Dad in the show. He had this cool head and even temperament that was a good addition to some of the more zealous members of Celestial Being. So I think he kind of kept people like Thierry Arde and even Setsuna in check a little bit. Great character. He's a fantastic character. I really like him. While Lock-On Stratus and the Gundam Dynames were used primarily for ranged combat, he did have a general amount of skill in close combat as well, which you can see a few times in the show. It's pretty cool when he whips out his beam saber because you're like, oh, he doing it.
Anyways, back to the Dynames. It shares a lot of commonalities with the HG Exia, so check out my video on that kit if you haven't seen it yet. The basic construction is almost identical, right down to the many seam lines and the soft plastic bendy parts that I hate so much. So I've closed quite a few of the seam lines and removed the mold lines already, as well as rescribed a lot of the details that were either too shallow or not really up to snuff. I don't mean to dunk on this kit so hard. Just like the Exia, it has a lot of potential. It's just a bit hard to see right now, but we can change that with just a little bit of modification. First, let's incorporate what we learned when building the Exia. The GN cables on the arms can be easily replaced by some clear plastic cut from some old packaging, but this time I'm going to paint them a little more comprehensively and replicate that effect here on the lower arm, and also on the front of the legs, right here where the GN cable will go, and down here as well. For now though, we can just measure and cut out the new GN cables and carefully bend them into shape. Here I have some just clear plastic packaging that I've sanded a little bit. Okay, there we are. I'm going to put a little piece of plastic card on the top there just to match the thickness of this piece, because it's going to slide into the elbow thing right here. So let's do that. Alright, so I just wanted to quickly show off the GN cables that I made for the, what are these, elbows? Is that what these are called? So yeah, just like the Exia, it's just a piece of clear plastic packaging, and I've glued a little plot plate right to the top, and then I just hollowed out the inside of this little connector here because it had a little wedge in there. So this fits just right inside, it just slides in there. Cover slides down over top like so. This just slides into the back here, and that will snap into place when I'm ready to put it together. Like others in this kit's release window, it comes with your generic holding hands and also one left splayed hand, which might take a little bit of sanding to get all the mold lines down and remove some of the excess plastic between the fingers that doesn't need to be there. But overall they're fine, they're just a bit generic looking and kind of goofy. So I will be using those same resin hands that I got on the Exia there, and I'll link those in the description again. The back skirt is this protruding thruster assembly, which is really unique. I think it's really cool. It's just a few pieces that go together, but there's a yellow piece that's sandwiched inside. So what I've done here is that each of these yellow plates normally come with a little GN thruster, which looks like this. I just sawed it off, and that way I can paint them separately and glue them in when it's all done. I filled the reverse side of the front skirt with some epoxy putty, so I'll be able to sand that down and it'll be nice and flush, just so it's not hollow from the back. I mean, that's the only angle you're ever gonna see that. So just in case, I filled that in. Now, the torso and the head, aside from masking, there's really not a whole lot to be done, except closing the seam lines. So I closed the seam lines on the torso and on the head as well. And in order to keep the faceplate removable, I've cut off the backing of it so it can be easily slid in and out of the head and just popped back into place when it's all done. So similar to what I did with the Exia, what I think I'm gonna do is just paint these separately and then mask them and then pop them in the leg so I can close those seam lines that are bugging me so much. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. So say goodbye to unpainted knee joints. Ta-da! Now I'm gonna mask these off with some of this Mr. Hobby masking tape here. It's very large. We're gonna sandwich them in here and then I'm gonna cement these. Cement these. I don't know where that voice came. I'm gonna cement these. I'm gonna cement these here legs. And then once they cure up, sand them down and everything. And I should be ready to prime. And then once I'm done with these, all the masking tape can come off and hey, it'll be ready. So that's kind of exciting. I had this like brilliant way of doing this last time and now I'm kind of forgetting. Oh God, I'm always making such a mess in here. Just such a mess, messy dude. Okay, what was I just doing? And now I can close these seam lines. There we go. So there's a leg closed. I don't know, it's not fully closing. I think this is just really thick now because of the masking tape. I really tried to not put too much on, but that's okay. I think it'll be all right. So for now, I'm gonna clamp this guy shut and we'll just leave it for a while, huh? So building on some of the techniques that I've done in other videos, I wanted to make these feet a little bit thicker on the side, so I added some plot plate to the side of them just to make them a little bit wider, and I think they look pretty good. So for the shoulder pauldrons, I ended up inserting a piece of plot plate into the back of them, just like I did with the Exia, and drilled a hole in there just so you can pop them on the torso and they'll move independently from the arms, which I clipped the pegs off of, so now they'll just slide in there like so. But yeah, they work pretty well.
I think the GN sniper rifle is a really cool accessory. I find the secondary handle on mine to be a bit loose, but generally after I went over this accessory and sharpened up some of the pieces, I think it looks pretty good. The scope of the rifle should have a little metallic sticker on it, but I think it looks kind of bad, so to that end, I'm going to drill out the scope and mount a little lens in there. So first, I'm using a small piece of runner, the same diameter as my drill bit. And at one end, I'm covering it with a piece of the reflective sticker sheet so it's nice and shiny. Then we apply just a drop of UV resin. Don't worry too much if it runs off of the sides, we can sand it down a bit later, but you generally want it to have a nice dome kind of to it. Once we cure that really quickly with some UV light, we can test fit it by sliding it into the scope. I'm gonna paint this separately later with some clear green and then glue it in place once it's all done. Another accessory that I've got here are these GN beam pistols that the Dynames acquires during the events of Season 1. Normally, these are available with the GN Arms D-Type kit, which is really big and hard to find, but that kit also includes a unique connector piece that allows those holsters to fit onto the leg. However, the GN beam pistols that I have are from the Gundam Estrella F-Type, which uses a different connection, so that it just doesn't fit natively. But never fear, we can modify them to fit by cutting off the previous connection on the GN holster and marking the area for reference later. Then using a mold release agent, in this case Mr. Silicon Barrier, you just paint it with a little brush there, we can fill in the Dynames leg connector with some epoxy putty. Be sure to leave just enough material on the top so you can easily pull the piece out later. Once it cures overnight, we can carefully remove the epoxy putty, just with a firm upward pulling motion. And now that we have a positive, we can saw the connector off, sand it down so it's flush, and glue it over the little reference marking that we made on the GN pistol holster, and Viola! Look at that! Also, you get a bunch of parts to make the GN full shield, which is a big green cloak-like shield thing, but we'll get into that a little bit later.
Hey, how's it going? It's me. It's that time in the video where I show up and talk about the Discord. Because it's really fun in there. There's so many great things happening. So if you like building, if you want to get into painting your gunpla, or if you have stuff you want to share or learn from other people, you should join Liam's Hobby Room Discord for free. It's free. Link's down in the description. Come on in. It's warm. It's welcoming. My phone's vibrating. Oh, it's the Discord. Cool. Man, I have a fever today. This is probably not like a great day to be filming this. Oh well. Anyways, check the description and join the Discord. It's fun, it's free, it's a nice place to be. Was that? Oh my god, is that the slogan? Is that the new slogan? I'm gonna remember that for next time. That's fun. I like that.
As usual, we're going to be priming this whole kit in Mr. Surfacer 1500 Black, making sure to spray all the recessed areas evenly. I don't want to have any bits of unpainted plastic showing as the kit turns around, because it looks kind of gross. The yellow parts are primed in pink. We'll have to mask some of the areas and return to paint them at a different stage of the build, just due to how the kit is constructed.
But once we've checked all the surfaces for imperfections, we can move on. Using a medium blue, I'm undercoating all of the white parts so it matches with the Gundam Exia that I built previously. Then I'm applying some very thin coats of Mr. Color 69 Off-White, trying to preserve some of the color contrast from the base coat. Now, the green that I have is a custom mixture I made of just various different green paints with a few drops of blue. As I paint, I'm just trying to be careful to feather the edges. There are lots of green parts that need to be masked off and painted both white and gray, so that's going to be super fun later. For the very few red pieces on the build, I've base coated them in blue to give a purplish kind of cool tone. I don't want the red to be too intense, or I think the colors might turn out a bit Christmassy, which is I don't want to happen. And now for the clear parts, I'm spraying the reverse sides with a mixture of clear green and blue. When that's dry though, I'm going to lay down a couple coats of pearl clear for some sparkly goodness. And once I'm all done my painting, it's time to gloss coat this bad boy.
You know, for someone who hates masking so much, you know what I actually really enjoy? Unmasking. This part's fine, I like this part. It's just the first part that's so tedious. But, you know, the results are usually, I'm saying usually as a disclaimer here, because as I'm pulling stuff off, things might end up being kind of gross, but usually the results, you know, speak for themselves. So there's a few areas on here I'm seeing already that I probably will need to touch up a bit. Some I might be able to hide with just a little bit of weathering, which I tend to do because I'm going to be weathering it anyways. This time during the modeling process, I usually like to just hang out with like a nice like video essay or a podcast or something and just start peeling. Just start peeling away. And that could be relaxing and fun. Oh, this is going to be a fun one. This is the head. Some of these had like 2 or 3 stages of masking on them, so that was fun. It's an entertaining little thing that I did. Be careful I don't snap the V-fin. That would be a classic Liam move right now, as I'm all done painting. For the most part, anyways. Oh, no! 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 Oh well. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. I could go in and touch that up. I could. I really don't want to, but I could. So we'll see. This kit had quite a bit of masking. Actually, more than I anticipated from the get-go. The more I looked at the actual animation model, the more I realized just how much gray there is on the kit, or on the mobile suit, sorry, and how much I would actually have to do. So that was interesting learning experience. More than the Exia, probably more than the Curios, which I'm probably gonna do next. Little surprise there. Guess what? Surprise to absolutely nobody. I'm doing another 00 suit next. If I'm sounding a little tired, it's because well, you know, it's been an interesting time for me these past couple weeks. But I just played this music festival up in Up Island from where I live. And man, you know, music festivals there is a type of person that kind of event is for. You know, extroverts and people that love partying and going out and having fun and all that stuff. And that person is not me. I don't think I'm ever grumpier or more upset or just more like generally perturbed or miserable when I have to go to a music festival. Even if I'm like obviously I'm being paid to be there. I'm being paid to perform. And it's still hard. It's still so hard. That kind of stuff, it just saps my social battery, I guess. This is unrelated to anything, by the way. We're just getting to know each other. You know, we're just having fun. It's just a fun little time we're having. Obviously, no shade if you like going to music festivals and stuff like that. But yeah, that stuff just doesn't help me much. In fact, I would say it harms me. So this is a welcome reprieve from what I have been recently doing. Hey, that wasn't half bad, eh? Just a couple areas I have to touch up. For the most part, I think this looks pretty good. I gotta glue this little thruster in here, but other than that, yeah, it's looking pretty good. Awesome. So I ended up going with a much darker green, well, maybe more subdued green would be a better way to put it, than the original box art or, you know, animation model, just because I found this a little more interesting to look at, and I think the subtler approach is kind of nice. I mean, my kits usually have like a little more of a subdued color scheme compared to the originals anyways, so I really like it so far. But time will tell once I put everything together and see how it all looks. Hey, it's me. I'm back. I guess there's not much of a point in saying that because to you, watching it be instantaneous, but for me, it's been a whole day, so wow.
I guess that's how time works. So I'm back with the Dynames, and we're doing some decals. And as you can see, I have some here. So this here is the Bandai sheet, the Bandai, one of the Bandai 00 sheets. And they're a little big. I don't really like them that much, but just the ones that say like the name of the suit and this little GN002, I think will be fine, because that is what I will do with this thing, the shoulders. This thing here. Same thing I did with the Exia, so I'm gonna cut those out and pop them in here. I also have a smattering of other decal sheets that I'll be pulling some from here and there, whereas, you know, just where I think they'll look good. So yeah, okay, I guess I'll just get to it. The exciting world of applying decals. As always, I will be applying them with Walther's Solvaset, which is my favorite decal setting solution. The other ones I find to either be too hot or not hot enough, and this one is Goldilocks zone styles. Just right, baby. Know what I'm saying?
Now that it's glossy, we can do our regular panel lines and light weathering with some oils. This is always a really fun phase for me. I like doing this part. So I'm using Mr. Weathering color, and I've mixed multi-black, stain brown, and white together to make kind of like a, I don't know, just like a light grayish brown color, which I think will work well because this kit is usually deployed on earth and it's standing in dirt all the time, so I thought that was kind of cool. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to apply some sponge chipping with some acrylic paint just here and there, heavier on the bottom. And once that's done, the final matte coat will blend it all together.
Ta-da! Okay, well, the painting's pretty much finished now. I just have to put on a couple stickers. Now, the only time I really use any of these foil stickers is when they're like covered by something else, just because I think it's really the only time they look very good. Ooh, I really like that. I think that turned out pretty good. I mean, it's mostly covered up by this green piece here, but oh well. It's still sort of in there. You'll be able to see it in the arms at least. So if you remember from earlier in the video, I made this tiny little scope piece that I'm just going to glue into here. So pop that out and I'll find my glue. Now let me just drop this in here without getting glue everywhere.
I hope you're ready to see the finished build. It's time for
the Gundam Dynames and Lock-on Stratus in our maiden battle.
Here's the kit assembled with very little work done and some seam lines and mold lines removed. And here's the finished result. Thanks for joining me on this journey, everyone. I think the masking really paid off with this kit. While it's not the most posable, I still find it pretty expressive, just from like the angles of a lot of the pieces that it has. I think the Gundam Dynames is my favorite Season 1 mobile suit from Gundam 00, followed maybe by the Throne 1s. I really like that one too. I really enjoyed how the colors came out this time. I put a lot of consideration into them beforehand, so it is nice to see. Again, a lot of these are custom mixers that I made on the fly, but I tested them out a few times, and I think I got some nice ones. This is a kit I can safely recommend if you have some modification and painting skills, or if you're wanting to practice those, but you may be a little underwhelmed with just a straight out-of-box build otherwise. Even if you aren't closing all the seam lines, just a little bit of painting alone will add a lot to the finished result. I really do encourage you to try if you haven't started painting a kit before. Just get a couple paints, even if you just get like a medium gray, that's a good one to start with. And a red and a yellow. A lot of Gunpla have those colors. And whatever you end up buying, I recommend you also get a white and a black so you can get a little bit more mileage out of all the colors you have.
Getting the green right took a few tries. The first one I used was just Mr. Color's regular green, and it was just way too bright. I knew I wanted it to be more subdued than the regular green color of the plastic, so I added some German gray to the mixtures. You know, it's pretty dark, as well as a bit of blue, and eventually I got something that I was happy with. Still, something about it isn't quite perfect, but I can be happy with it. You know, I can move on. I think the yellow could have done with some shading, so maybe I'll try that on the next kit. It's hard to do without making it a little too, overly dramatic looking, I guess. But I really like the white tones with the blue undercoat. I did kind of mess those up too, though. That was a bit heavy with the blue undercoat and ended up covering more of the black underneath than I wanted to, so not a whole lot of the black was coming through, but oh, I think it still looks good. I really like this suit, I really do. Weathering it was pretty fun.
Because the colors are dark, though, it was hard to capture it on camera. The footage just didn't look very interesting. So the next video features a kit with brighter, more pigmented colors, so I think I'll try to showcase the weathering there a little bit more in that one. But when it came time to do the sponge chipping, I had a lot of fun with that. I mixed brown and light gray together and just dabbed the sponge on areas where dirt and mud would be kicked up, so the undersides and the lower portions of the kit have heavier chipping and splatter effects. Spatter? Splatter? I don't know. Kinda hard to capture at this scale, and I'm not really sure I fully succeeded, but it was very fun to do. The last thing I wanted to mention about this build overall is that I designed some cool water slide decals for it, as well as a bunch of other kits in my backlog. Unfortunately, the decals didn't arrive in time for this video, but they will be here for the next one, so that's pretty exciting. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. I'll share the file in my Discord server once I clean it up a bit. I've been rewatching Gundam 00, and man, what a great series. I really do prefer the story beats, I guess, of Season 1, but Season 2 is still really engaging. If you haven't seen it, definitely should. It's on Gundam Info's channel here on YouTube. It's just a really great story, and the action is great, the animation is fantastic, the music is just, what do they say? It's a bop, a banger? Those are words that people say? But they're good. It's just really good. So you should check it out. Well, anyways, that is enough of me yammering, so I'm going to stop talking now, and you can just take a look at the kit, and I'll check in with you just before we sign off.
Coming up next is going to be another 00 kit. Yeah, that's right. I got a whole bunch of them. They're just everywhere right now, but I got a whole bunch. Anyway, stay tuned for that. If you want to get some cool 00 kits for yourself and you live in Canada, check out bchobbies.com. There's lots of Gunpla on there. I work there. I built the website. Did I say this already? Thanks for watching. I am very thankful, genuinely. Please make sure to like and subscribe this video because it helps me a lot. And it will probably make my flu go away faster. So, please help me. Like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also, there's a lot of Gunpla content on here and you'll probably enjoy it. So thank you for watching, everybody. Look after one another, share this awesome hobby, and I'll see you guys next time on Liam's Hobby Room.